Introducing first in the blue corner to my right, wearing the multicolored trunks, weighing in at 141 3/4 pounds, professional record, 31 wins, 5 defeats, 2 draws, with 20 knockouts from Passaic, New Jersey, Livingstone, Bramble. His opponent, wearing the black trunks, white accessories, he weighs 140 pounds, pro record, 16 wins, 2 defeats, 1 draw. He has 6 knockouts from Lorain, Ohio, Carl Stuff Griffith.
Tail of the tape, Livingstone Bramble at 5'8", an inch in height advantage, and also came in a little bit heavy today, and that was a source of controversy at the weigh-in. 141 3/4, the official weight. Carl Griffith had one of them a little bit lighter, and he had to take off a pound. The Florida boxing rules are in effect in this one. 10-point must system scored by the 3 judges at ringside. The referee does not score the bout. 3 knockdown rule is in effect. 3 knockdowns in any round will end it right there. No standing 8 count, and a fighter cannot be saved by the bell. And here's the referee's instructions.
You have been given the rules by the commission. All I want you to do is keep to them. If I give you an order, box break or stand back. You must obey me at once. Is that clear? Good luck. Thank you very much.
And we're getting set for round 1. This one's scheduled for 10. Livingstone Bramble in the multicolored shorts. He'll be the easy one to spot tonight. Carl Griffith, all black trunks with Stuff, his nickname, across the midsection. And this one figures to be a real challenge for Livingstone Bramble. As you said, Charles, he has a lot more at stake in this one than perhaps Carl Griffith, who's looking to make a name for himself here tonight in Orlando. This is round 1 scheduled for 10. Bramble came out a little bit sluggish in his last encounter that we saw in the Beach Brawl Series a couple of months back against Roger Brown. Was content to just block punches through the first 3-4 rounds and try and counter off of that. Always an outstanding counter puncher, has a terrific jab. And the thing about Bramble, that ambidexterity, the ability to switch southpaw rather, and also go with the right-handed style.
I'll tell you what, when you look down throughout history, how many fighters have done that as well as Livingstone Bramble? I can think of Marvin Hagler, but not too many others. You can't go back years and years and see that, because when they found a guy who was a southpaw, they immediately converted him to a right-hander. So Bramble, perhaps one of the best ambidextrous fighters of all time.
And Bramble also known for having a rock-hard chin. Tough guy to put to the canvas. What does Carl Griffith have to do in this fight if he wants to come away with a victory? Obviously, he has to win it impressively.
Well, I don't see Carl Griffith coming out here and scoring an early knockout. He's got to bedazzle Bramble with his ability to box. He's really got to shake the cobwebs, shake the butterflies early in this fight, because he's clearly in the most important fight of his life, possible title shot down the road if he can win. He's got to settle down, relax, and fight his fight, and maybe get Bramble in a position where he can get frustrated later on in the bout, score a late TKO or win a decision.
Bramble was always known as an outstanding defensive fighter, a very tough guy to penetrate. Came off a couple of losses before that matchup against Roger Brown. Santos Cardona defeats him for the NABF title over 12 rounds, and then he lost to Tony Martin, but he was injured in that fight, and from the 5th round on was unable to throw a right hand. He appeared to be very sharp in the early going in that one, and then unfortunately suffered an injury to his right arm and was unable to do anything. To his credit, he went the distance.
And there we just saw the natural movement over to the southpaw stance by Bramble. He's comfortable doing it, and he'll switch in midstream. He'll go back to the orthodox stance. There he is right there.
Carl Griffith going to the body, gets a short left hand that grazes the chin of Livingstone Bramble.
That was a nice move by Griffith. He hit Bramble with a right hand, took a step back, and hit him with a left hook.
Action in the center of the ring. We know that Bramble's an outstanding fighter off the ropes. So Carl Griffith perhaps will be leery of that tactic as we have 20 seconds to go in round 1.
Good defense by Griffith. Bramble coming up with a couple of right hands, but Griffith parried them rather easily.
Round 2 scheduled for 10 in the junior welterweight division. Livingstone Bramble in the multicolored trunks, and Carl Griffith, who's looking for an upset tonight in the all-black trunks. Round 1, kind of a feeling out process. Both fighters had their moments.
Yeah, I had an even round. Really didn't give one fighter a distinct advantage. You saw in the corner, Tom Gray was telling Carl Griffith to get a little more aggressive and step in with the jab. Gray was insistent as the weigh-in that Bramble lose some pounds. He was 142 when he weighed in. Bramble finally, I think, wound up at 141 3/4. But he just wanted to see him make the effort, because if you can make a fighter do that on the day of a fight, you can extract some sort of an advantage from it.
Good flurry to open up round 2 by Carl Griffith as he landed a 3-punch combination, the final punch getting through. And he catches Bramble again with that left hook after stepping back. Lead right hand and then the left hook. Catches Bramble coming forward. Bramble trying to apply more pressure in this fight, especially the early stages, than he was in his last outing on the Beach Brawl Series against Roger Brown. He was pretty much content to go into a defensive shell in that one and counter Roger Brown, who was much more of a road runner than this Carl Griffith. Bramble missing with a wild left hook, and Carl Griffith's handlers in his corner, Tom Gray and Mike LaQuattro. Gray doing most of the instructing, was telling him, watch for that uppercut coming in and try and counter off that. You may be able to catch Bramble with a shot, take him out.
Bramble was wide open right there for a counter shot.
Well, the last guy I saw wearing trunks of that nature was Claude Noel, who we all remember for that long outside uppercut, a lead punch he threw against Art Frias, and that was pretty much the end of Claude Noel's career. As Frias knocked him out, took the lightweight championship from him, a championship belt that Livingstone Bramble would eventually wear.
That's right, beating Ray Mancini, who knocked out Frias in one exciting round.
Good body shot with the right hand as a lead punch by Carl Griffith, and he's doing an excellent job of keeping Bramble at bay, unable to get his offense on track here in round 2 is Livingstone Bramble. Bramble fighting right-handed here. Comes in with a hook that catches Griffith as he was off balance, moving backwards against the ropes, and Griffith doing a good job tying up Bramble before any more damage could be done.
I think Griffith's strategy may be a part of the strategy, maybe to see what Bramble can do to him early on in the fight and figure out how to counter what Bramble is throwing at him.
We all know that Livingstone Bramble has plenty of staying power. But that was a long time ago when you look back on his ledger and see the name Boom Boom Mancini written in indelible ink on the minds of boxing fans. Final seconds of round 2. This is our main event on Prime Network tonight. Livingstone Bramble, the former WBA lightweight champion of the world, getting a challenge tonight, and an interesting one from Carl Griffith, who comes in looking to put his name into the minds of the powers that be in boxing and possibly gain a title shot for himself. Both fighters on the crossroads here tonight. Interesting fight thus far through 2 rounds. I thought the first round was basically even, Charles, and I thought Bramble might have had a slight edge in round 2.
I saw it exactly the same way, but Griffith's looking like a good little fighter, a guy who has the capacity to be a real cutie and box with Bramble in this fight.
Certainly not intimidated by Bramble to this point, as we're early in round 3, scheduled for 10. Carl Griffith has had his moments. His most effective weapon has been the body shot. Feints with the right hand, comes back with the left hand to the body as Bramble comes forward.
And how many guys feint these days? That is really a lost art in boxing.
2 minutes to go in round 3. The action and the pace of this fight slowing some in this stanza. Livingstone Bramble said he intended to put more pressure on Carl Griffith. Also said he was going to make him pay in his connections for having to take off that pound at the weigh-in. Came in at 142 this morning, and the contracted weight was 140 plus 1, so he had to go sweat off a pound. Opening up now, but not connecting. A lot of leather thrown, not much landing, as Livingstone Bramble is offensive-minded here in the middle stages of round 3. Good right hand that time, but Griffith wins the tail end of that exchange and gets Bramble's attention once again.
Griffith stood right in there and nailed Bramble with a left hook in countering.
Fighters clinch now. Bramble, tremendous experience. He's had 38 pro bouts, 256 rounds over his professional career. A lot of those have been wars, too, for the entire 3-minute duration. Now Griffith comes in with 20 bouts as a pro, 114 total rounds. Opens up inside now as Bramble sticks his head right there. Bramble always a master of that elusive head movement, a la Roberto Duran. Not giving you too much motion, but managing to duck the punch.
Well, you know, Bramble reminds me of an old pitcher who may not have his fastball the way he used to, but that gets by on the throwing junk at you and is savvy. And that's what I think Bramble's going to have to rely on from here on in his pro career.
Left hand is a strong one by Bramble, and he follows up with the right hand, partially blocked by Griffith, but a good exchange for the former lightweight champion. As we come towards the close of round 3, he might have received the attention of the judges there. Another tough round to score, but Bramble applying the pressure here in the closing moments of round 3. The old pro and Bramble fighting on savvy and style. Control the late action in round 3 and may have pulled that one out on the judges' scorecards, and he comes out with heavy artillery at the start of round 4.
I gave Bramble that last round. Yes, I did think he had an edge. I thought he landed some good clean shots to the head of Carl Griffith. But Griffith's corner is trying to extol him to throw some uppercuts as Bramble comes in. And indeed, Bramble comes in with his head down. Could be open for an uppercut. There's one right there. A right uppercut that hit Bramble right on the point of the chin, Jeff.
Good quickness displayed there and hand speed by Carl Griffith as he followed the advice of his cornerman to the letter and countered what was a pretty good jab by Livingstone Bramble, who is starting to feel comfortable throwing that left jab in Carl Griffith's face.
And I'll tell you, Carl Griffith looks really calm and composed in there. It doesn't look like he's pushing the panic button yet. Looks like he's still intent on doing what his game plan dictates that he do.
He's been boxing since the age of 11, really loves the sport. Pretty much has made it his life. Fell in love with it right at the outset. His young boxing career, was a decent amateur fighter, and he's making a name for himself as a pro.
Well, he was an excellent amateur fighter. He won 2 Ohio State Fair championships, and that sounds regional, but Jeff, that is national. That's one of the 5 or 6 most prestigious tournaments you can win. People from all over the country come and compete. Also, at the age of 17, Griffith made it to the quarterfinals of the 1987 Pan Am trials, which put him among the top 10 in the country at his weight class.
Bramble misses with a jab. Gets the left hand to the body to find a home as Carl Griffith ties him up now in the center of the ring. Been a quickly paced fight since the opening bell, and Livingstone Bramble has been pressing the action. Carl Griffith pretty much content to counter in this one, and that is sometimes a strategy we've seen Livingstone Bramble excel at, but he is making the pace of this fight so far tonight.
You don't want to sit there and wait on the other guy to punch too much.
And it tells you something about the mental chemistry of Livingstone Bramble coming into this fight. He knew he was a little sluggish last time out against Roger Brown. Nearly paid the price as he was trailing on the scorecards before scoring a 7th round knockout. Determined to show much better before a national TV audience tonight.
I think he does look better. He looks more aggressive. Looks like he's trying to punch with more authority. Good exchange there.
Good flurry with Griffith getting the better end of it. Livingstone Bramble.
Right, boys. Let's go.
Showing his veteran ring generalship and ties up Griffith at the proper moment. Final moments of round 4. It's heating up, and we'll take it to Griffith's corner in between rounds. There's the bell to end round 4, and we follow Carl stuffed Griffith back to his corner after what may have been the best round of the fight for him.
Listen to me, all right? You waited a little bit too long for that round. You realize that? Okay, you took that round off a little bit. You got to get those 4 shot combinations and do your angles,
Real
right?
deep, come on,
Don't
real
stay
deep.
inside with him, okay?
Real deep.
When you're there, the uppercuts are working. Then do the angles and get out and throw the 1-2 hook.
Real
or
deep.
something,
One
okay?
more. Real deep.
Throw the hook.
And
all right?
indeed,
You'll
those
be there.
uppercuts are working. Let's take a look at one in that round. A right uppercut that nailed Bramble. He did exactly what Tom Gray told him to do.
Hook that jab, man, and don't be lazy with it, okay?
Let's take a look at the final exchange. A good left hook there by Griffith, who then avoided the countering right hand by Livingstone Bramble.
And the pressing style of Bramble causing him to pay the price in round 4. A good round for Carl Griffith. Close fight, tough one to score. We're into round 5.
And I did give Griffith that last round, making it a 39-38 advantage for Bramble. Tom Gray telling Griffith something in the corner that I think is run true throughout the 4 rounds in this bout, is that Griffith is waiting and waiting too long on Bramble. There you see him posing. Why doesn't he take the initiative and beat Bramble to the punch?
Bramble capable of fighting with many styles and also very adept at figuring out what his opponent has done and taking advantage of whatever opportunities are there. We saw it in his last outing against Roger Brown, as Brown was running throughout the first 6 rounds, and Bramble pretty much coasted through those, counter-punching and being content to lay back and block punches. But when he finally had the chance to open up, he nailed Brown with a picture-perfect right hand that sent him to the canvas and earned Livingstone Bramble the victory. This, an entirely different war, one of a different nature, as Carl Griffith standing in there very tall against Livingstone Bramble through 4 rounds of a close fight.
Yeah, this is a guy that does not run from you. He's an excellent fundamental boxer, as you can see. Knows how to throw that left jab out there, and knows how to defend himself, too. Good countering left uppercut, missed. If he had connected with that one, Livingstone Bramble might be flying out of that ring like a bottle rocket.
Just missed the mark, and once again, you see Carl Griffith following his fight plan to a T as he's trying to counter Livingstone Bramble's aggressiveness with that uppercut.
All right, fight.
Peter Bartlett, 3rd man in the ring, doing an excellent job tonight.
Peter Bartlett, for a long time, one of the better amateur officials in the state of Florida, now moving up to the pros.
And this matchup in particular just goes to show you that a name in boxing doesn't mean there's any easy road back to the mountaintop. As Livingstone Bramble is taking on a very tough customer tonight in Carl Griffith, and he'll have to have more fights like this if he's going to make it all the way back.
Well, the casual follower of boxing might say, well, who is Carl Griffith? But Mike Akery, one of the tour matchmakers for Alessi Promotions, Tommy Torino being the other, but Mike told us that Carl Griffith was going to put forth a very, very competitive effort. And he has done just that. He's fighting virtually on even terms with Bramble throughout the 5 rounds now.
And the pace in round 5 has slowed just a little bit. This has been a quick-paced piece of action here in the junior welterweight division, as Livingstone Bramble and Carl Griffith have hooked up. This one will be decided in the latter stages, as we're just about at the midway point. A relatively even matchup thus far. This one, again, a difficult round to score. Had the first round even, and Livingstone Bramble with a 1-point edge coming into this one unofficially. We'll go to commercial between rounds as we come into the closing moments. Bramble trying to wind it up with a flurry here and maybe steal one on the judges' scorecard.
Jeff, this is how you stop a guy in his tracks. Boom, boom.
Solid flurry at the tail end of round 5 by Griffith as he sends a definitive message to Livingstone Bramble about being over-aggressive. Bramble was having a good flurry as he tried to rally and steal that round on the judges' scorecards. Again, the mark of an intelligent veteran pugilist who's been to the ring wars many, many times.
Yeah, and I had that a Bramble round until that last combination, which I thought was quite impressive. I made it an even round in the 5th.
I also saw the 5th dead even, that final combination by Carl Griffith pulling it out for him. Not too much action over the first 2 minutes of that round as both fighters seemed to go into a little bit of a defensive shell. Bramble opened up, seizing the opportunity, and Griffith made him pay the price. Here we are in round 6. This one's scheduled for 10 junior welterweights on the crossroads here, as Livingstone Bramble looking to get back into the title picture. He's been there before and knows what the limelight is all about. Carl Griffith trying to steal his thunder tonight on Prime.
You could tell that Bramble now respects Griffith a great deal. He's not moving in with reckless abandon. And Griffith has nailed him with a good right hand there over the left glove of Bramble.
From a tactical standpoint, what does Carl Griffith have to do to win this fight? Can he keep going in the fashion that he is and come away with a victory?
I'd like to see him throw out a harder jab. What he's doing is he's throwing out a soft jab and hoping to throw some punches behind it. He's not a big puncher, so he should be pumping that left hand out there.
And you don't get the feeling at this point in the matchup that either fighter is really in a strong position to score a knockout.
No, I think you're looking at a distance fight, and that could be where the stamina factor comes into play. Bramble's been 10 rounds or more 13 times in his career. Griffith only 10 rounds once. That was when he beat Harry Arroyo back in August of last year.
Bramble, over the last couple of rounds, content to flurry in short moments. Carl Griffith has maintained his posture throughout, taking the body shots when they're available and trying to counter Bramble's forward motion with uppercuts and left hooks like that one.
Yeah, Griffith hit Bramble with a nice left hook, but it didn't have that much effect because it didn't have a lot of mustard on it. He is scoring points with those punches, but he's not keeping Bramble from coming forward.
Sweet combination all with the right hand by Livingstone Bramble, as he threw a hook and then came up with an uppercut. He approached the closing moments of round 6. You see the skill of Bramble is still there, and he was always a beautiful fighter to watch. Body shots and counter left hands may have made this an even fight. As we go into round 7, Livingstone Bramble and Carl Griffith. Griffith getting the better of the action in round 6, and you've got it dead even, Charles.
I gave Griffith that last round. I thought he was a little more aggressive in there, and I thought he did get a little more of Bramble's respect, but got to admire him for hanging in there. He's a 22-year-old kid who's going in there against a former champion who does have something left.
We've seen Livingstone Bramble able to draw up some intestinal fortitude and rally in the late rounds in many of his previous bouts. Let's see if he can do it again tonight, as we're just underway in round 7. Bramble unloads to the body just at the belt line with that right hand. And a thunderous shot echoed throughout the arena here at Marriott's Orlando World Center. Ballroom setting for tonight's fight, very intimate setting. And some good action inside the ring. This is our main event.
There's Griffith. Griffith's got to concentrate on going to the body as well against Bramble. He's been doing a good job of it so far, but he hasn't done it often enough.
Bramble pretty much tonight from the right-handed posture. Hasn't gone southpaw that often, but his basic stance leaves an opponent wondering which way he's coming forward at almost all times. He's able to switch on a dime.
One of the few fighters ever in boxing who's been able to do that.
Some blue-collar type stuff here as we approach the midway point of round 7. Carl Griffith in the black trunks, Livingstone Bramble in the multicolored trousers tonight. Bramble trying to get home and get Griffith's attention with that right hand to the body. Some pawing shots now as he presses Griffith into the ropes.
All right. In those situations, Griffith has to maintain his composure and not getting into a slugging match with Bramble. Bramble wants him to do that.
Wicked right hand just misses from Livingstone Bramble. He set it up with a short jab as he propelled himself forward, but both punches missed.
Griffith trying to bring those hands down. You see Bramble in that familiar stance, holding those hands up near his face, trying to get him to bring those hands down so he can hit him with some punishing shots.
Pretty good tactical round, though, for Livingstone Bramble, as he appears to be making some adjustments as we come to the latter stages of this fight. He's tying up Griffith more, not letting Griffith get off with so many hooks. And he's controlling the action when he's able to get his hands free, or allowing himself to do so. By Livingstone Bramble, as he may have stolen a round from Carl Griffith in round 7. We're into round 8 now. This one's scheduled for 10. These are junior welterweights. Livingstone Bramble, the former WBA lightweight champion of the world, in the multicolored trunks. And you see the differential in the amount of distance these fighters have gone in their careers. Livingstone Bramble many times past the 8-round distance, many more past the 10, and he's been the championship distance, the ultimate distance of 15.
And I gave Bramble that last round. I didn't see Griffith really hit Bramble with anything of significance until the very final seconds of the last round.
Livingstone Bramble opening up now, and he set up that right hand very well in round 7, and he scores a couple of body shots and backs up Carl Griffith again. Rallies underneath now. Those punches all low. Griffith tries to press him against the ropes.
This is where the lack of power hurts Griffith. He's got Bramble against the ropes, but Bramble, who's used to fighting off the ropes, is able to use that to his advantage. Now look at him covering up there. You don't see Griffith throwing the uppercuts with authority anymore.
And that lead right hand, now a dangerous weapon for Livingstone Bramble. He is landing it more frequently. Blocks the uppercut attempt by Carl Griffith that time, and he's biding his time very well in this fight, looking for his openings and becoming as coy as ever as we're into the late rounds. Appears to have plenty of stamina left. His legs don't look tired at all.
Okay, break, boys. Watch your heads leaning on each other.
There was the countering left uppercut by Griffith. He's just not active enough, it seems.
Bramble starting to give Griffith different angles to shoot at. Getting his offense in motion and basically outpointing Carl Griffith to this point in this round. You have to know how to win fights of this caliber, and Livingstone Bramble certainly has been there before. Ducks under the shot now of Carl Griffith and continues to pound away. Nothing heavy, but effective. Scoring points. Griffith comes forward now with a rally.
And one thing we did not expect Griffith to do is get involved in a slugging match, but he's doing it in a very controlled fashion, conserving his energy very well. And he definitely stopped Bramble's come forward.
And we see an abrasion now underneath the right eye of Carl Griffith. Doesn't appear to be anything too serious. Just a cut. Final seconds of round 8. We're going to keep it right here between rounds. Listen in the corners.
Break. Come on.
Bramble. Clearly the winner of the early portion of this round. Griffith is rallied now. We'll go to his corner between rounds. You get a good look at Carl Griffith, who's upset-minded here as we're through 8 rounds and heading for round 9. Tom Gray and Mike LaQuatra is handling.
Stop, take that deep breath. All right, relax. Number one thing, we got to relax, okay? You see what happens when you hit him with 4 straight punches and move him back to hit his ground? That's where I want you to be. You got to get them shots in there, too. You understand? You're hurting him, and he's coming. This guy is so tired, he can't understand. You know that, don't you? You're sharp, you're ready. You got 2 rounds to go, big guy. You got to stay busy, and you got to hit 4 and 5 shot combinations and move this boy backwards. Okay? You don't want to be on the ropes with him. You don't have to be on the inside either. You understand? Bang, 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 go in, bang, bang, come back out, and throw 4 shots. Relax now. Back with a deep breath. Come on.
All right, we've been talking uppercuts in this fight, and there's the left uppercut, a countering shot by Carl Griffith. He's just not doing it enough. Here comes a good right hand by Griffith as he tries to assert himself against Bramble. That one caught part of Bramble's glove, but still, when you hit a guy in the glove and then it hits him solidly in the face, it's like the guy's punching himself in the face sometimes, so you can get some force behind it.
This is round 9. Bramble in the striped trunks and Carl Griffith, the black and white. Charles J's scorecard after 8 rounds, dead even at 77 apiece. I have this one scored a slight advantage for Livingstone Bramble after making round 8 an even round. I thought Bramble pretty much dominated the first 2 minutes of that one, but Carl Griffith definitely had his moments in the latter stages and eked out a draw on my stretch. Bramble ahead by a point. The action heats up in round 9.
Yeah, Griffith coming out with some good body shots on Bramble. And his corner was telling him, in effect, to throw a bunch of punches, then get out, then get back in and out, which is really what Griffith's forte is. You don't want to give Bramble a chance to stand there and counter you.
And Griffith making better use of his jab as we're coming down the wire here in this 10-round junior welterweight matchup. Keeping Livingstone Bramble from getting into his offensive posture just that split second that it takes to get off good countering shots.
And both of these guys are in good shape, Jeff. Neither one looks very winded at this point in the fight, although Tom Gray was telling Griffith that Bramble was tired. I really don't see that much evidence of that.
Bramble does appear to have plenty left. Just looking for his opportunity. He's been flurrying in this fight and possibly outpointing Carl Griffith in that fashion. Griffith with solid body shots. He's been able to counter well, but Livingstone Bramble has more than made the pace of this fight.
Wait.
Bramble always excelled at infighting, but Carl Griffith has held his own there. As you see the blood starting to flow more freely from that cut. Not a particularly menacing cut. It's well underneath the eye and doesn't appear to be a big danger to Carl Griffith finishing this fight. Title aspirations on the line for both these guys. Appear to be very much up in the air. As we have 20 seconds to go in round 9. We're going to keep it here between rounds.
Griffith just missed a big right-hand counter and got hit in the stomach by Bramble. That hurt.
2 big shots by Bramble also find the mark as he rallies at the end of round 9. We'll stick right here between rounds. And we'll head to Griffith's corner as Livingstone Bramble rallies at the end of the round, but the crowd pleaser appears to be Carl Griffith.
Okay, we got to relax this round, okay? Hey, you've got to throw 4 and 5 shots. Carl, you got to out-hustle in this round. You understand me, right? You got to have this round, right? You got to be sharp, all right? Don't wait for him. You know, they're there. You don't listen stuff. You don't necessarily have to hit that right hand so hard you're going to pull him out. You got to land it so the hook will land. So you don't go all the way around with it, okay? Bang, 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 bang. Turn the shoulders, okay? Turn the shoulders.
Listen in Livingstone Bramble's corner now. That's Lee Black.
Lee Black's in there, and manager Ed Gersh came over to offer some advice. Here comes a left hand by Griffith. Now it grazes the top of the head of Bramble, missing with the right uppercut, and Bramble with the right hand counter.
And we're set for the 10th and final round from the Marriott Orlando World Center in Orlando, Florida. This has been a good one throughout, everything it was billed to be. And the fight probably hangs in the balance as we head to the 10th and final round. Livingstone Bramble, former champion of the world, the WBA lightweight king. And you have Bramble slightly ahead, giving him round 9.
I have Bramble ahead 87-86. We don't know how the judges are watching this fight. Perhaps they're impressed by the name of Bramble. Maybe they're impressed by the crowd getting behind Griffith. We just don't know.
And the chant of "Stuff" now clearly being heard from throughout the confines here at the Orlando World Center. Livingstone Bramble, though, trying to apply the pressure. He's a veteran fighter who knows he's been in a tough matchup. And he probably figures he has to win this 10th and final round to come away with the victory.
Well, he's a guy that can rise to the occasion late in a fight. He's scored big knockouts in the past, late in fights over guys like Tyrone Crawley, and of course Mancini, who he knocked out in the 14th round to win the championship. So this is a guy who does not become panicked late in a fight. He's an old pro that knows what he's doing when the fight hangs in the balance.
And you would have to say, from watching this effort, that certainly Livingstone Bramble is not everything that he once was back in 1984 when he ruled the lightweight division, WBA variety, but still a very viable contender for a junior welterweight championship, especially if he can keep improving off efforts like this one. Much better outing for Livingstone Bramble, even if he comes away with a loss.
Well, you know, he's going to have to stand in line even if he wins this fight. There's a lot of activity in the junior welterweight division because besides the champions we mentioned earlier, you've got Lonnie Smith and Greg Haugen, Oba Carr, Rodney Moore, Loreto Garza, Angel Hernandez. A lot of good fighters in that division. Good left-right combination by Bramble, and another good right. Griffith now dropping his left hand.
And Bramble applying the pressure as he tries to pull this one out on the scorecard. This is the final minute of our 10th and closing round. The crowd clearly behind Carl Stuff Griffith, but it's Bramble with all the answers here.
And Griffith is not the kind of guy who can end this with one punch, so playing catch-up for him is not an easy ball game. That is indeed if he's more than a point or two behind.
Okay, break. What's his head?
Action in the center of the ring now as Livingstone Bramble doing a good job of infighting and holding off Carl Griffith's late surge here in the closing moments of round 10. It appears to be a Bramble round as we close things out in our main event tonight on Prime Network. Bramble trying to rally now, final seconds. Holding on now. to what may be a very close victory. We'll keep it right here and await the decision in this one. Good 10-round matchup in our main event tonight. Livingstone, Bramble, and Carl Stuff Griffith.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a split decision. Judge Tony Palermo scores it 97-93 Griffith. Judge Frank Santori scores it 96-94 Bramble. Judge Frank Skilbred scores it 96-94 to the winner by split decision, Carl